Humans shock the Galactic Council by rejecting diplomacy. The chamber buzzed with the low hum of countless species, their bioluminescent displays and pheromone exchanges filling the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council. Representatives from hundreds of worlds sat in a spiral arrangement, all focused on the central dais where the human delegation stood. Ambassador Iliakar stepped forward, her face calm but resolute. Her sharp blue suit, the emblem of Earth embossed on the lapel, reflected the sterile light of the chamber. Behind her, holographic projections of Earth's landscapes displayed scenes of humanity's vibrant diversity: deserts, forests, towering cities, and starports bustling with activity. The council speaker, a towering avian creature with iridescent feathers, leaned forward. Ambassador Carr of humanity, the council has convened to hear your decision. Will your species join the Galactic Compact, uniting under the shared principles of diplomacy and mutual progress? A silence fell over the hall as every eye turned to the humans. The Compact was a cornerstone of galactic civilization, a commitment to resolve conflicts through negotiation and to work collectively for peace. No species in living memory had ever declined the invitation. Carr took a deep breath, her voice steady as it echoed across the hall. Honorable Council members, humanity acknowledges the immense honor of this invitation. However, we must respectfully decline. Gasps, clicks, and various alien sounds of shock rippled through the chamber. The speaker's feathers flared in what could only be described as alarm. Decline, Ambassador? Perhaps there is a misunderstanding. The Compact ensures stability and cooperation. Without it, your species may find itself isolated. Carr's expression didn't waver. We understand the risks. Humanity has studied the Compact, its principles, and its history. While the ideals are noble, we believe the implementation has become stagnant and vulnerable. The Compact discourages innovation, tolerates systemic inefficiencies, and prioritizes consensus over decisive action. These are values we cannot align with. Murmurs turned to louder conversations, some representatives openly debating among themselves. The speaker raised a claw to restore order. Ambassador Carr, are you suggesting that your species prefers conflict over peace? Not at all, Carr replied sharply, but peace without the freedom to challenge, to question, and to grow is a fragile peace. Humanity has thrived through adversity, learning that strength comes not from conformity, but from diversity of thought and action. We do not seek isolation, but neither will we sacrifice our independence to a system we believe needs reform. The speaker hesitated, visibly taken aback. Do you propose to reform the Compact from the outside? Such efforts have been attempted before, all unsuccessful. Carr smiled faintly. We don't propose, we act. Humanity's history is a testament to our ability to adapt and innovate. If the Compact truly values progress, it will evolve in response to our success. If not, it will prove our decision was correct. The hall descended into chaos as factions formed almost instantly, some representatives shouting their support for humanity's boldness, others condemning the decision as reckless hubris. The speaker called for order repeatedly, but the uproar continued. As Carr stepped down from the dais, her deputy, a young strategist named Ethan Vale, leaned close. You realize they'll see us as a threat now, he murmured. Carr glanced at the holographic projection of Earth, her voice steady but tinged with steel. Let them. We've always been underestimated. It's how we survive. It's how we thrive. The humans left the chamber as the council debated their response, their departure a powerful statement of defiance. For the first time in centuries, the galactic order faced an unpredictable variable, and the galaxy would never be the same. Chapter 2, The Seeds of Rebellion. The moment the human delegation left the Galactic Council chamber, the political storm erupted. Holoscreens across countless star systems broadcast the event, featuring Ambassador Carr's bold words, on planets far and wide, from the methane-rich skies of Xipheron 4 to the underwater metropolises of Calthari Prime. The shockwaves were immediate and far-reaching. In the sprawling orbital habitat that served as humanity's embassy to the Council, Carr gathered her team in the main conference room. The tension was palpable. Holographic displays lit the room, showing various news channels analyzing humanity's decision. Most were critical, a few cautiously intrigued, and a handful openly supportive. What's the immediate fallout? Carr asked, standing at the head of the table. Ethan Vale tapped on his datapad, bringing up a projection of the latest reports. It's a mixed bag. The Xantari coalition has called for economic sanctions, arguing that humanity's rejection threatens galactic unity. On the other hand, several smaller factions, particularly those who felt marginalized by the compact, are quietly reaching out to us. They see us as a potential ally for reform. Another advisor, Drive, Elena Marek, a political historian, leaned forward. This isn't just about us anymore. By rejecting the compact, we've unintentionally sparked a debate about its flaws. Even species that have been loyal to the Council are starting to question whether the system is truly equitable. Carr nodded. Good, that was part of the plan. But Ambassador, Vale interjected, it also paints a target on our backs. If the Council decides we're too disruptive, they could impose sanctions or worse. We've seen what happens to civilizations that defy the status quo. Carr's eyes hardened. Then we'll need to ensure we're not an easy target. What's the status of Project Aegis? A hush fell over the room. Project Aegis was humanity's ace in the hole, a multifaceted initiative designed to bolster Earth's defenses, expand its influence, and establish its autonomy in the galaxy. While the Council had insisted on demilitarization for compact members, humanity had quietly developed technologies far beyond what it had disclosed. Phase 1 is complete, Marek replied. The orbital platforms are operational, and the AI defense network has passed all stress tests. Our diplomatic corps has also been instructed to prioritize alliances with species sympathetic to our stance. We're building our coalition. Good, Carr said. Now, let's talk strategy. If the Council moves against us, we need to be ready, militarily, diplomatically, and ideologically. The galaxy isn't prepared for what humanity can do when backed into a corner. Meanwhile, in the heart of the Galactic Council's central spire, the speaker convened an emergency session with the Inner Circle, an elite group of species that had shaped the compact for centuries. This cannot go unanswered, growled Threx, a reptilian envoy whose scales glinted like molten metal. The humans' defiance sets a dangerous precedent. If others follow their lead, the compact could collapse. The speaker's feathers ruffled with unease. We must tread carefully. If we act too aggressively, we risk validating their accusations. The galaxy would see us as tyrants. A representative from the Lyran Dominion, a crystalline being whose voice resonated like chimes, spoke up. Perhaps there is another way. Humanity thrives on adversity. Yes? Then let us give them what they crave, but on our terms. Push them to overreach, expose their arrogance. When they falter, the galaxy will see the folly of rejecting the compact. The speaker considered this, their eyes narrowing. A calculated pressure campaign, then, sanctions, political isolation, perhaps subtle manipulation of their trade networks, but no direct aggression, yet. Threx spared his fangs in a predatory smile. Let them dig their own grave. Back on Earth, humanity's resolve was hardening. Carr returned to her private quarters that evening, watching a live feed of Earth's bustling spaceports. Her communicator buzzed, a message from Admiral Kaito Hoshino, commander of the United Earth Fleet. We're ready, Ambassador, Hoshino said, his face stoic. If the Council moves against us, they'll find we're not the easy prey they think we are. Carr smiled faintly. They'll learn soon enough. Humanity doesn't just survive, we redefine the game. As the stars outside her window glittered against the void, Carr knew the coming days would test humanity like never before, but she also knew they were ready. The galaxy had underestimated Earth, and it was about to pay the price. Chapter 3, The First Strike. The war drums of diplomacy sounded across the galaxy, subtle and unrelenting. Trade routes that once flowed seamlessly to Earth now found themselves entangled in delays and reroutes. Resources critical to Earth's growing interstellar economy, hyperalloys, plasma inducers, and quantum lattice processors, were suddenly unavailable. In humanity's orbital embassy, Ambassador Ilia Carr sat at the head of a hollow conference with Earth's top military, economic, and scientific leaders. The tension was thick, but Carr's voice cut through it like steel. Admiral Hoshino, status report. Hoshino's image flickered on the holodisplay. The Admiral was in the command center of Resolute Dawn, Earth's flagship carrier, His uniform was crisp, his expression calm. Council-aligned trade networks are throttling supplies to our colonies, but Project Aegis is holding strong. Our manufacturing hubs on Mars and Luna are scaling up production of substitutes. The blockade is inconvenient, but not crippling. And the fleet? Our router system patrols report an increase in surveillance drones, likely from the Council's intelligence arm. If they're probing our defenses, they'll find we've learned a thing or two from their tech. Carr smirked. Let them look, they'll see only what we want them to see. Elena Marek, seated beside Carr, leaned forward. Their economic isolation tactics will escalate. If we don't move soon, they'll target our allies, those species quietly supporting us. Agreed, Carr replied. We need to shift the narrative. Humanity isn't a rogue state, we're pioneers. The galaxy needs to see that. Across the void, in a small mining colony on the frontier world of Arctis V, the first crack in the Compact's foundation appeared. The colony had long struggled under the Council's rigid trade policies, its resources siphoned off for wealthier core worlds. When a human diplomatic envoy arrived offering advanced mining equipment and equitable trade terms, the colony's leaders couldn't refuse. Within weeks, the colony's output tripled. Its citizens, Zythians, a hardy, insectoid species, found themselves thriving for the first time in generations. Word spread like wildfire. The Council, of course, noticed. On the cold desert plains of Arctis V, a Council enforcement fleet descended, 3 destroyers, their hulls gleaming with compacted neutronite. Their intent was clear: dismantle the human presence and make an example of the colony. What they hadn't anticipated was the presence of a single United Earth Fleet frigate, the Orion's Edge. Captain Sophia Reyes stood on the bridge of the Orion's Edge, her eyes fixed on the tactical displays. The Council fleet was advancing, broadcasting a demand for immediate surrender. Comms, Reyes said. Her communications officer nodded. They're hailing us again. Same message: withdraw or face destruction. Reyes smirked. Let's see if they're all bark. She turned to her weapons officer, prepared to deploy Aegis drones. No direct engagement unless they fire first. The Orion's Edge launched a swarm of sleek, AI-controlled drones, each equipped with advanced electronic warfare systems. The Council destroyers hesitated as their targeting systems flickered and failed. Their hulls shimmered with distorted light as the drones unleashed targeted EMP pulses, disabling shields and scrambling sensors. The flagship of the Council fleet fired a warning shot, a lance of energy that streaked past the Orion's Edge. Reyes leaned forward. Big mistake. She gave the order, and the Orion's Edge retaliated with precision strikes. Plasma torpedoes streaked through the void, detonating just close enough to disable the lead destroyer's engines. The other 2 ships attempted to retreat, only to find their drives hacked and rendered inert by the Aegis drones. Within minutes, the Council fleet was crippled, their once imposing vessels adrift and defenseless. Status? Reyes asked. Council fleet neutralized, no fatalities, her tactical officer reported. Reyes nodded. Good, send a message to the Council. Humanity won't stand down, we protect our allies. News of the encounter spread rapidly. The Compact had been challenged militarily, and lost. For the first time in centuries, a non-member species had successfully defied the Council's authority. Back on Earth, Ambassador Carr watched the reports with a sense of grim satisfaction. Humanity had shown its teeth, but it had also offered hope to the disenfranchised. Elena, she said, turning to her advisor, prepare a diplomatic broadcast. Let's make it clear, this isn't just about humanity, it's about freedom, it's about reform. If the Council wants a fight, we'll give them one, but our real weapon is the truth. As humanity rallied its allies and fortified its defenses, the galaxy watched with bated breath. The Council's facade of invincibility had cracked, and the balance of power was shifting. And for the first time in eons, the stars whispered of revolution. Chapter 4, The Rising Tide. The Galactic Council chamber was eerily quiet. The holographic recording of the Orion's Edge disabling the Council fleet played in a continuous loop at the center of the hall. Representatives of countless species watched with a mix of shock, disbelief, and grudging admiration as humanity's frigate outmaneuvered and incapacitated the enforcement fleet without a single casualty. The speaker's voice finally broke the silence, resonating through the chamber. This escalation cannot go unanswered. Humanity's actions on Arctis V are a direct affront to the Compact's authority. A representative from the Trivath Syndicate, a spindly, multi-limbed species known for their economic prowess, raised a claw, and yet, they did so without breaching any established galactic laws. Their actions were measured, surgical, and, dare I say, principled. The speaker's feathers bristled. Principled? They undermined the Compact. A crystalline Lyran chimed in, its voice ringing like chimes. Perhaps the issue is not humanity's defiance but the Compact's rigidity. Have we become so entrenched in tradition that we can no longer tolerate alternatives? The chamber erupted into a cacophony of debate. Factions began to solidify, those who saw humanity as a threat to the established order, and those who saw them as a spark for much-needed reform. Back on Earth, the tide of revolution was rising. Ambassador Carr stood before a massive crowd in Unity Square, the heart of Earth's capital city. The broadcast was being transmitted to allied colonies, sympathetic factions, and even some covertly rebellious worlds within the Council's core territories. My fellow humans, she began, her voice steady but filled with passion, and to all those across the galaxy who feel the weight of the Compact's stagnation, hear this: humanity stands not as a conqueror, but as a partner. We seek a galaxy where every species has the right to thrive, to innovate, and to shape their own destiny. Her words resonated far beyond Earth. On Arctis V, Xaythian miners listened intently, their antennae twitching with hope. On the industrial moons of Tyron, laborers paused to watch, emboldened by humanity's defiance. Carr continued, the Council would have you believe that unity requires submission, that progress demands obedience. We reject this notion. True unity is forged in diversity. True progress is born of challenge and collaboration. In the depths of Council space, a quiet rebellion began to take shape. On the industrial planet Geltha, home to the Greykthar species, a robust, bipedal race long relegated to serving as laborers for the core worlds, rumors spread of humanity's defiance. Greykthar workers whispered in dimly lit barracks, sharing recordings of Ambassador Carr's speech. One worker, a grizzled veteran named Cather, stood on an overturned crate, his voice rising above the murmurs. They said we'd always be under the Council's thumb, that we had no choice, but humanity has shown us another way. The crowd roared in agreement. Meanwhile, the United Earth Fleet prepared for the inevitable retaliation. In the orbital shipyard above Mars, Admiral Hoshino inspected the newest addition to the fleet, Vanguard Eternum, a state-of-the-art battleship equipped with humanity's most advanced technologies. Its sleek, angular design bristled with weapons systems that could disable entire fleets without resorting to wholesale destruction. Hoshino addressed the engineers and crew assembled before him. This ship is not just a weapon, it is a symbol, a promise that humanity will not back down. We will defend our allies, we will defend our ideals, and we will forge a galaxy where no species is forced to kneel. Cheers erupted as the crew prepared to launch the Vanguard Eternum. In the shadowed halls of the Council's Intelligence Division, covered plans were already in motion. Director Ranux, a shadowy figure from the telepathic Zric species, convened a meeting with the Council's elite operatives. Humanity is clever, Anux admitted, their voice a haunting whisper in the minds of those present, but they are young, ambitious, they will make mistakes, and when they do, we will exploit them. A hologram of Earth appeared in the center of the room. Begin destabilization protocols, sow dissent among their allies, turn their victories into Pyrrhic ones. Humanity will learn that defiance comes at a cost. The galaxy stood on the brink of a new era. The Council tightened its grip, desperate to maintain control. Humanity, undeterred, continued to rally support from the disenfranchised and disillusioned. For every action the Council took, humanity responded with cunning and resolve. The balance of power shifted with every passing day. The stars seemed to hold their breath, waiting for the inevitable clash that would decide the fate of the galaxy. Chapter 5, Fractures in the Stars. The Council's retaliation came swiftly. But not in the way humanity had anticipated. There were no fleets descending upon Earth, no grand battles in the void. Instead, the Council deployed its most insidious weapon, subversion. On the Allied mining colony of Arctis V, whispers of betrayal began to spread. Key Xythian leaders who had openly supported humanity started receiving veiled threats and lucrative offers to sever ties. Supply shipments from Earth faced technical delays, straining the colony's fragile economy. In the heart of the colony, Governor Velker, a towering Xythian with dark, chitinous plating, convened an emergency council meeting. The humans promised us freedom, but the council is choking us with sanctions, one councillor hissed, their mandibles clicking in agitation. Velker's voice was calm but firm. The humans have delivered on every promise. We are prospering more now than we ever did under the compact. This is the council's doing, not theirs. Another councillor leaned forward, their antennae twitching. Perhaps, but if we renounce our alliance with Earth, the council has hinted they'll lift the sanctions. Velker's sharp mandibles scraped together in frustration, and returned to servitude. No, we stand with humanity, but we must prepare for the storm that's coming. The Shadow War begins. On Earth, Ambassador Carr and her team were already aware of the Council's underhanded tactics. Reports of sabotage, espionage, and propaganda campaigns flooded in from every corner of human and allied space. Ethan Vale, Carr's deputy, entered her office with a grim expression. We've confirmed it, the Council's intelligence arm is behind the unrest on Arctis V. They've infiltrated local leadership and are funding separatist movements. Carr set down her datapad, her brow furrowing. And the response from the colony? Governor Velker is holding firm, but the pressure is mounting. If we don't act soon, the colony could fracture. Carr's mind raced. The Council was playing a long game, aiming to isolate humanity by sowing doubt and division among its allies. She knew that brute force wouldn't resolve this. Humanity needed to win the war of perception. Send a team to Arctis V, Carr said. Diplomats, engineers, and security specialists. Show the Xythians that we're not abandoning them. We'll counter the Council's lies with action. Operation Beacon. A sleek corvette, the Starfire, slipped into orbit above Arctis V. On board were a hand-picked team of diplomats, engineers, and soldiers led by Captain Sofia Reyes. Her orders were clear: stabilize the colony, expose the Council's interference, and strengthen the alliance. Reyes stood on the bridge, her gaze fixed on the planet below. Begin landing procedures, and keep the comms open. I want the entire colony to see that we're here to help. As the Starfire descended, Reyes addressed her team. The Council wants to break our alliances by making us look unreliable. Let's show them what humanity's commitment really means. The turning point. Governor Velker stood alongside Captain Reyes as the humans began their work. Advanced atmospheric processors were deployed to improve air quality. Medical teams treated Xythian workers injured in recent accidents, and human security forces trained local militias to defend against potential threats. But the most critical moment came when Reyes unveiled the Council's sabotage. Using captured data logs, she presented undeniable evidence of the Council's interference to the colony's leadership. The room fell silent as the holographic displays played intercepted transmissions of Council operatives orchestrating the unrest. One councillor, previously vocal in their skepticism of humanity, stood and faced Velker. Governor, I was wrong. The Council has no interest in our well-being. Humanity has risked everything to stand with us. We must do the same. Velker nodded solemnly. Then it's decided. We will not yield. Inform our people. We stand with Earth. The Council's frustration. Back in the Galactic Council's spire, Director Annex seethed as reports of the failed operation on Arctis V reached their desk. The humans had not only stabilized the colony but had also turned the Council's own tactics against them. Their defiance is becoming a contagion, Annex said, addressing the speaker. More colonies are questioning the compact. If this continues, the fracture will spread. The speaker's feathers shimmered with irritation. Then we escalate, begin the next phase. If humanity insists on playing with fire, we will ensure they are burned. A galaxy on edge. As the Council prepared its next move, humanity pressed forward. More colonies reached out, inspired by Arctis V's resilience. On Earth, factories worked around the clock to produce advanced technologies, both for defense and to share with their allies. Ambassador Carr, standing before a coalition of human and alien leaders, declared, "We will not be broken by sabotage or fear. Together, we will build a galaxy that thrives on freedom, innovation, and mutual respect." The galaxy was teetering on the edge of a new era. The Council tightened its grip, humanity pushed back harder, and the disenfranchised species across the stars began to see a glimmer of hope. The stage was set, the Shadow War was evolving into something far greater, a revolution that would shape the future of the galaxy.